So yeah, it was just really great to see that our group decided to take some of their time on their free day to go down to Safe Haven and to really explore what they saw in the exhibit in person. One thing that kind of surprised me about Safe Haven, not a criticism necessarily, was just the fact that only 5 families at a time are able to benefit from that service. And not that that's a bad thing, but just the amount of people that notice the fact that families can't stay together when they're utilizing the services of shelters in Nashville. That it would be really great if there was, the availability of more services for that need. Whether it's through Safe Haven or other shelters, I just really think it would be great to see a lot more services available for families to stay together. Because I know, anytime you go through a rough time in your life, family can be a very important part to making that bearable and to making that, endurable, if that's a word, able to be endured. So I really know how important keeping families together. I think that can be very harmful in some regards to some people if they have to be separated. But I also understand the safety concerns of keeping, people of different genders and people of different backgrounds together in missions and other shelters and things. I get that. So it's interesting that only a few agencies are able to offer the services entirely to families, and that those services are sometimes offered only selectively. It would be great to see a way for there to be more family shelters, of course. And I kind of wonder about the way that works around here, and that's something I plan on investigating a little bit with some of the agencies that we have here working locally with the homeless, and whether or not they're able to work together with families, or whether or not they are making families have to divide up when they get services, and if there's anything that we can do to help with that. So that's something to think about. But it was really great to see that our group had such a great interest in seeing that side of the assistance that's available to the homeless in Nashville. So I was really impressed with those who decided they wanted to go to Safe Haven or had expressed interest in going to Safe Haven. That they were willing to take up their time on that day to do that when they could have been going out and exploring some of the sights and sounds of Nashville. Although I have to say, I was a little disappointed in the weather because all week long, great, fantastic weather. Like it was 85 degrees most of the time. Comes our free day, it begins with sleet and ice and rain all day long. So it was just really interesting for us during the trip to just realize that, well, we're going to have to deal with the weather because I wanted to go to the zoo on my free day because I like to see animals. But I didn't get to because it was raining. I guess I could have went in the rain, but I've done that once before in Cincinnati where I've lived for a while, and going to the zoo in the rain isn't always the best of experiences. So that was great. And now I kind of want to take time in this, probably will be the last section of my reflections, to really thank the trip participants. I know that so many of them gave up so much of their comfort zones during this week. First of all, just to give up time with their families, to give up time that they could have been going to the beach, to give up time that they could have been, with doing lots of really important things that I don't even know what they've sacrificed to go on this trip, but I know that sacrifices have been made, and I'm very, very appreciative for everyone who's been on this trip who decided to take this week to do what they did. And I'm very appreciative of them getting out of their comfort zones, and for them dealing with their frustrations, and for them seeing and understanding new perspectives and being introduced to things, and being able to just continue on in times when it was sad, to continue on in times when it was scary, continue on in times when it was confusing, to continue on in times when it was downright just frustrating because you didn't feel like you were making a difference, or you didn't feel like that this is what you expected. You didn't feel like those things. So during those times, they continued on. They continued on when they were feeling sick. They continued on when they were feeling tired. I know we were waking up early every day, and I really wanted to appreciate each and every single one of them. It was good to see them all working together and to see them all working to make these goals accomplished. And so it was great teamwork among the week. In general, great work ethic among most participants, and I just really want to thank them all because they really, for the most part, did their best to represent Concord, did their best to care about what they were doing, treated it like a job, and to each and every one person on the trip that did that, I want to say thank you. That was really great that you guys were willing to do that, and I realized during the week you didn't get a lot of thanks, and you probably should have gotten more, but I want you to know that you were appreciated each and every time that happened, whether or not that was verbalized to you, but it was also, it was in the hearts of me, it was in the hearts of Alex, I know, it was in the hearts of the agencies that we worked with because they shared that with me, and they shared it with some of you. So I want you to know that during the entire week you were appreciated, and I know actually and I've shared some stories in some of the earlier reflections about how I know the clients and the participants of these agencies were very appreciative of what you did. They noticed and saw the difference that you made, even if you didn't. Like, they noticed how much work that you had done. And so I want you guys to know that you were appreciated and thankful. And I know that many of you didn't do it for the thanks and do it for the appreciation. You did it out of the kindness of your own hearts. And that's honorable and worthy of recognition. And so I want to take time to do that right now for you. So thank you so much for your contributions and for dealing with me and for dealing with everything that happened during the week. Because we wanted this to be a trip for you guys, and I hope that it ended up being successful for each and every one of you. So I hope that you guys gained something, were introduced to new ideas, and from what I can see, from what you've told me, that's happened. So I'm excited about that. And I hope that we have the opportunity in the future to continue these alternative spring break trips through Concord University. That'll be one of our main goals as we continue to work forward, is to make this a continuing tradition, if at all possible. So I hope that service trips like this will continue in the future. I know that this one had unprecedented interest. Like I said, we had a wait list. This one ended up being a very academic experience for many, a very eye-opening experience for teaching people new things and new expectations and introducing them to a side of the world. So I also want to take time now, speaking of academics, to thank Dr. Sally Campbell, one of the professors here at Concord University, who agreed to provide academic credit for those who participated in this trip, to take the reflections in their papers and to grade those, and to make this into a chance for them to get credit, to value it as an academic endeavor as well. So I really want to thank her. She has, under no obligation, decided to do that out of the kindness of her heart, taking on that extra class, and I really, really appreciate her for that. So thank you, Dr. Campbell. And so I hope that each of you that also took that class will take time to thank her for taking on this extra burden. She already has a full class load to take on this extra burden to just give you the chance to get academic credit. So thanks to her. Other than that, it's just been a great week. It's been a week that I still have a lot to process, because when you are taking care of making sure that all logistics and things are taken care of, you don't really get a time a lot to sit down and really think about what's been done and what you've accomplished. So I know that there's a lot more insights and a lot more things that are going to be coming clear to me in the coming weeks. And I think that's one of the great things about this trip, is that the learning and the expectations are continuing to be met even after the trip is over. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I have a much deeper appreciation now for people that are in charge of organizing things, and how difficult that can be, and how they're often subject to criticism for even the littlest things that they do or don't do. So that's something that's affected me personally also as a result of this trip, is just to be a little more appreciative of people that are in charge of making decisions on the fly, and that isn't always the easiest experience for anyone, and sometimes they'll end up making a decision that may not have been the best. But at the time in their situation, you should try, and most times, to give them the benefit of the doubt. So that's a lesson that I learned there this week as well. So I'm going to try to put that into practice, which should be of great news to some of you. So I hope that you will hold me accountable to that as well. And I really learned, again, just how many people here at Concord University really have a heart to serve others deep in their heart, and that a lot of the frustrations on this trip were based not on the fact that they didn't want to serve, but because they wanted to serve more, that they didn't feel like they were doing enough service, that they didn't feel like they were benefiting enough. And so that was really awe-inspiring for me, that the fact that people were getting frustrated on the trip was okay, because the reasons they're getting frustrated is because they want to be doing more to impact their community, and that was very inspiring to me. And so that's something that I took from the trip, to realize just the amount of need and the ease at which people can get put into need. It's something that I've noticed all during my life, but it was exemplified in this trip, to just really see that anybody can fall victim to circumstance and be needing in these services, and that a lot of these services, when you're in a metro area like Nashville, you get the benefit of a lot of these services. And I know from my familiarity with some of the services around here that they don't offer quite as vast an array. Not that that's necessarily a criticism, because again, we don't have as much need here as we do in Nashville, and we don't have as much resources here as we do in Nashville. But just to know that, like, that's going to be an issue when you're not happening to be in a metro area. I hope other people will think about that too, and the ways that we can try here to make this a place where people who end up being a victim of circumstance will